Hello, welcome to الكرامة News Service, and we start our top stories for today with current affairs in Libya. Commander-in-Chief of Arab-Libyan Armed Forces, General Khalifa Haftar, announced that body of armed forces is a red line, adding that it will not be an item in any political dialogue. General Khalifa Haftar also noted during a general meeting held at the general headquarters of the armed forces in Al-Marj city with specialized general staff, the leaders of fighting districts on various fronts, that the armed forces would fight with against conspiracy being planned to the militia. The general also stressed that the armed forces have a constitutional legitimacy and support of the Libyan people who delegated him to fight terrorism. Air Force launched an airstrike on the strongholds of terrorist groups in Darna city. The military source stressed that the bombing targeted positions of terrorist Daesh group in the mountainous region bordering Bab Tobruk district known as Kufrat al-Sab'a and another site in Al-Fatah area east of the city. Moreover, the source noted that the bombing resulted in heavy losses. In the meantime, a military source says that the terrorist Daesh group suffered human and material losses during its battles with the armed forces in Darna city. The source noted that the losses pushed the terrorist group to open another fight front to remedy the failure to take control of a number of pivotal cities. Moreover, the sources said elements of terrorist Daesh group withdrew to strongholds in Al-Rawiga area located in between the cities of Sirte and Jafra, one of the most important Libyan cities after losses during battles in Benghazi and Derna. And still Libya, cities of Zantan and Rajaban signed in the village of Bir al-Ghanim on a reconciliation agreement with the Derna city to stop infighting and bloodshed. The agreement provides for the withdrawal of all forces to their positions, the opening of all roads and the free movement of goods, as well as the stopping of threatening the road linking cities of Nafusa Mountain and Tripoli. The three cities agreed to form a committee to follow up the breaches that might happen in the future on amnesty for fighters from these cities, except for those of a criminal record. The agreement also included supporting and activating the institutions of the army and police and assisting municipalities to serve the citizens. And about the relations between Tunisia and Libya, Tunisian Foreign Minister for Arab and African Affairs Al-Tuhami Al-Abdouli said that the Libyan official authorities denied its relation with electronic sites that published recent threats to Tunisia because of the construction of a barrier on the Tunisian-Libyan border. Al-Abdouli added that the official authorities in Libya were contacted to investigate the threat, and they found that these statements have no relations with the official Libyan positions. He also stressed that the Tunisian Foreign Affairs has not received any formal objection to the construction of the barrier body bordered by both of what is known as a rescue government in Tripoli and the interim government internationally recognized by the world. Saudi Baki Yemeni militiamen captured the Aden's main port and a neighboring district today, a big prize in the battle to drive Houthi forces from the southern city, residents said. Coming a day after fighters wrested the city's airport and another district from the Houthis, the advance has dealt the biggest step back yet to the Houthis in more than 3 months of war. Houthi forces withdrew from the port and Mullah district into Tawahi and were slowing the militiamen advance in another area called Qanat using intense sniper fire from volcanic rocks which overlook the seaside metropolis. Residents said scores of southern fighters were in streets of Aden fighting on Wednesday as part of the offensive dubbed Operations Golden Arrow. Medics said dozens of combatants and civilians had been killed in the latest 2 days of fighting, and the main hospital made an urgent appeal for blood donation. Saudi Arabia and other Arab states have been bombing the Houthis and their allies from the air since March 26 in the hope of reinstating the Yemen's President Abdurrabbi Mansour Hadi. A struggle for power in Yemen exploded into an international crisis in late March when the Houthis entered Aden, the country's main port and second city, and a Saudi-led coalition began its air campaign. And now to Iraq. The U.S. hunts back Iraqi relics it says were recovered in Syria by special forces during an operation against an terrorist Daesh commander known as Abu Sayyaf. They are small, but they speak to Iraqi history. Artifacts are among heaps of Iraqi relics captured by U.S. special forces in a raid on Daesh terrorists in Syria. The United States today handed them back to Iraq. U.S. Ambassador Stuart Jones says that militants were funding the war by smuggling the ancient treasures. He added that their facts are displayed evidence that Daesh, beyond its terrorism, beyond its brutality and destruction, is also a criminal gang that is looting antiquities and museums and historical sites. Extremist Daesh militants have razed some of greatest archaeological sites in northern Iraq, posting video footage of fighters destroying pre-Islamic monuments. Iraqi officials have appealed for international help, questioning why U.S.-led coalition has not deployed its air power in defending the ancient treasure. And now about the nuclear crisis in Iran. U.S. President Barack Obama said during a White House briefing today that he expects the debate in Congress over Iran's nuclear deal to be robust. Obama said, I have already reached out to leaders in Congress on both sides of the aisle, and my national security team has begun offering extensive briefings. I expect the debate to be robust, and that's how it should be. This is an important issue. Our national security policies are stronger and more effective when they are subject to this scrutiny and transparency that democracy demands. Iran and six major world powers reached a nuclear deal on Tuesday, capping more than a decade of negotiations with an agreement that could transform the Middle East. U.S. President Barack Obama held a step towards a more hopeful world, and Iran's President Hassan Rouhani said it proved that constructive engagement works, but Israel pledged to do what it could do to halt what it called a historic surrender. The agreement will now be debated in U.S. Congress, but Obama said he would veto any measure to block it under the deal. Sanctions imposed by the United States, European Union, the United Nations will be lifted in return for Iran agreeing long-term curbs on a nuclear program that the West has suspected was aimed at creating a nuclear bomb. The agreement is a political triumph for both Obama, who has long promised to reach out to historic enemies, and Rouhani, a pragmatic elected 2 years ago on a vow to reduce the isolation of his nation of 80 million people. And finally, to Greece, a confidential study by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has called for much more debt relief than European countries, particularly Germany, have been prepared to offer so far. As Prime Minister Alex Tsipras battled to win lawmakers' approval today for a pilot deal to keep Greece in the euro, a report from the IMF has called for massive debt relief for Greece in the face of its highly unsubstantial public debt. The report predicts debt will peak at close to 200% of GDP in the next 2 years, compared to a previously forecast high of 177%. Strategist Bill Plain of main partners noted that it's going to be an enormous political problem within Germany because Merkel wants to be validated by a global international organization like the IMF, supporting continuing support for Greece. But if they turn around and say hang on, this will not go to work. Iran's going to put a whole different pictures on it. German Chancellor Angela Merkel can count on a big majority in favor of opening long talks with Athens due to her grand coalition's near monopoly of seats, although she may face an embarrassing revolt among her own conservations. But the IMF debt substantially analysis may force her within months to choose between two far more unacceptable opinions: grant massive debt relief or see the IMF walk away. My audience says that is a wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website at www.watanalkarama.tv. Thanks very much for being with us. See you next time. My greeting, Rانيا البليدى.